Alright, so I'm going to show you how to get started when you download your image. So I went ahead and downloaded this image from Google Drive. I scanned it in, and I just clicked it from my desktop and pulled it down to Photoshop, which is down here. The icon is a PS. And then Photoshop will open up for me. Now my image automatically defaulted to vertical. So there's ways that you can change the alignment. You can go to Image, Image Rotation, and then maybe you want to flip it, maybe you want to rotate it just 90 degrees at a time, and you can even go clockwise. I'm going to go clockwise, and I didn't shoot my image this way, but I think it's kind of an interesting composition, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it this way. You want to go ahead then, after you rotate it, go to File, Save As, and we need to make it a PSD document because we're working in Photoshop, and we should only be working in PSD when we're working in Photoshop. I'm going to title it First Initial Last Name number 1 because it's the first one I'm working on, and you'll number them in sequential order. So it'll always be First Initial Last Name number 1 .psd, and I have it on my desktop right here, and go ahead and hit save. And it'll go ahead and save it there. I'm going to go ahead and you can adjust the size or you can crop it first. I'm going to crop mine first. Let's see what I would like to get rid of. I kind of like part of that wall there. Kind of like the greenery down here in the corner. Okay, and then you just hit enter when you're done. So now I'm going to go to image size, and these can be 13 by 19. You want to keep the resolution 300, and I'm only working in the document size. So actually I said 11 by 14. Sorry, that's my mistake. So you want to find the longest side. So my longest side is the 1.7, so I'm going to put 14 in there, and then it's going to automatically default on the height. And I'll hit OK. It's hyper zoomed in. Command minus will zoom me out. Command plus will zoom me in. Okay, so now I have an image here, and then I clicked on the move tool up here on the top right corner. Your toolbar may be singly done or double. You just hit this little arrow to get what you like. I prefer to work in the double version. It's just the way I've always worked. So then when I click on the move tool, it deselects everything. Okay, so now after I've sized it, I want to go ahead and duplicate this layer because I don't want to do any work on it. So over here in your layers window, you can go to window layers and make sure there's a check mark. You're just going to do Command J, and it's going to duplicate your layer. Now my image is in color. Yours is going to be in black and white, but I'm going to go ahead and make mine black and white real quick so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So with your image in black and white, you won't have to convert it. It'll automatically be black and white. But you can go to this little black and white cookie. These are where all your adjustments are going to be. And you click on the black and white, and this is where you can adjust your black and white settings. So you can adjust the red, you can adjust the yellow. Again, this is hyper blown out. Do not make a black and white print that is crazy blown out. You're going to treat it just like you would in the darkroom. You can go to a green filter because filters add things to black and white, especially the red filter. And it's not really working on mine because mine's a color image, but we're just going to say this is fine. So once it's fine, then you hit the X. I'm going to delete this layer so we're not confused. So right now you have your black and white layer on there. You can adjust the adjustments. I can go back to my layer 1, and I can go to my levels, and you can adjust your levels. I recommend just playing with these little sliders. Obviously, if you move the far black one, it makes it darker. This makes it lighter, and the one in the middle is your nice grays. You can also adjust it by the slider down here. Okay, so there we've done that. You can also go to exposure. Again, everything's under the black and white cookie. So here I can start to underexpose it. So I'm underexposing it by 3 stops. I can overexpose it by 1.5 stops. I'll go back. Okay, so everything before I do these adjustments, I always click on layer 1. You may want to mess around with the brightness and contrast. If it's too bright, you can lower the brightness down. Again, that starts to do a little bit of weird things to your image. Okay, so now you've gone through and you've done all your basic adjustments. Now you might need to clean your layer. So on the copied layer that you worked on, this is going to be your clean layer. So all I did was double click on it, and that's how you can change the name. I double clicked on the word. And there's multiple ways to clean. So there's the spot healing brush. If you see a white arrow, that means there's more brushes. So here's the clone stamp tool that you can use. Underneath, I've gotten myself lost here. Where am I? Oh yeah, right here. Okay. It usually does a default to that one. So the spot healing brush tool and the healing brush tool, the patch tool, and the clone stamp tool are the ones you're going to use. So I'm going to get this guy open. So these two right here are the ones that you're going to use the most. I've given you detailed directions on how to do it. So here, if I have this spot healing brush tool, right here you can see my little cursor, but if I want to make my brush bigger, there's the two brackets to the right of the letter P. So I'm just holding this down, and here I'm making my brush big. And if I want to get rid of this little dot right here, I'm going to hit proximity. I'm going to choose content aware, and I'm going to make sure it samples all my layers. And then, did I get rid of it? Yeah, I accidentally clicked on it already. So then all I have to do is you want to make sure your brush is just a little bit bigger than your shape, and I click on it, voila, it's gone. So there, and I can really zoom in, Command plus. So here I'm at like 66%. Okay, and if I want to view it and what it would look like if I were to print it, I would just go to View, Actual Pixels. And so this is what it would look like at 100% if I were to print it. And again, I did a really bad job editing it just to show you. A nice thing that you can do is hold the space bar down, and it gets the little, I call it the sticky hand. And then you can just click and drag throughout your image.